ladies. This is Ashley Poptodorova with Ladies Who Love Christ, and we are so excited to be here again this week. We have a great topic planned. We're so excited. It's something that's near and dear to my heart. We are going to be talking about prayer. We are going to dive into what prayer is and why prayer is important. And we're going to kind of create this like a Bible study of sorts. We're going to go to the scriptures like we always do. That's something that I want you to be anticipating here at Ladies Who Love Christ, that we're always going to dig into the word. But it is almost like a little guide for you today. And we're calling it Pray About It, Girl. So listen, there's so many things in our lives. There's so many things that we go through. There's so many things that we will go through. Prayer is an integral piece to our walk with the Lord. It is an integral piece to us being able to get through difficult times, difficult things that we're going through, maybe big decisions that we have to make, things that we need the Lord's guidance on. And prayer is such a vital component to the life of a believer. And so I want to really dive deeper into that today with you. And we are so excited. But before we do, I just want to remind you that we are up on all major podcast platforms after this episode ends each week. Wherever you like to listen to your podcasts, we would love if you would go there and subscribe to Ladies Who Love Christ. We would absolutely love that. That's like a big giant hug to us. And you can also find us on YouTube. It's great because these episodes air every weekend on Faith Talk. We love Faith Talk. And then after that, there's an actual video that is taken and it's put up on our YouTube page. So if you are more of a type of person where you like to sit down and actually watch a video and take notes, you can do it that way. So there's multiple ways to connect with the ministry, and whatever way works best for you, we would just be glad if you would go there, hit the subscribe button, and show Ladies Who Love Christ Ministries some love. So I'm really excited about this topic, ladies. Listen, I have been doing a lot of thinking about prayer lately and how integral it is in the life of a believer. But ladies, prayer, as important a piece as prayer is, a deep, rich, intimate prayer life with the Lord, as important as that is, it is single-handedly one of the most missed pieces to the Christian walk. Prayer is one of the most missed pieces to the Christian walk. So today I want to talk to you about that, about prayer, about what it is, about how important it is. But also I want to give you some little things that will help you in strengthening your prayer life. And before we can even begin today's episode, I just want to unpack however simplistic it may sound. I'm huge about the simple things because oftentimes, ladies, it's the simple things that we miss. I want to unpack what prayer is. Ladies, let me first start by telling you what prayer is not. Prayer is not about getting what we want. Prayer is not about coming to a sovereign and a holy Father and just getting what we want. Yet, how often in our lives do we make prayer about that? We make prayer about getting what we want rather than that heart change that takes place with deep, rich, intimate prayer. So many times we use it as a quick means to just ask with a little heart behind it other than what we desire in the moment. Right? Sometimes we fail to realize that we are coming before a sovereign, holy, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent Father, a Father who cares for us, who knows us, who loves us, who desires the very best for us, right? But we come before him with these prayers just begging for what we want. Now, please do not misunderstand me, okay? It's okay to seek the Lord for the desires of your heart, but not before we make him our utmost priority. It's okay to come before the Lord and ask for the desires of your heart, but not before you make him the ultimate priority of your life. See, at Ladies Who Love Christ Ministries, one thing that we love to do is we offer year-round live online Bible studies, year-round, nonstop. So if your Bible study is breaking and you want to jump into an amazing online community of women all over the world, you can do that. And right now, we are walking through a book by Jen Wilkins called Women of the Word. And this whole book, the whole premise of it is how to study the Bible, not just with our hearts, which is Ladies Who Love Christ, we are so inclined to do, but to study the Bible with our minds, to really seek to understand the Lord and who He is. Ladies, prayer is much like that. It's about us coming to know our Father. It's about coming to know His heart. It's about coming to have that heart change that takes place when you come before Him, right? In full surrender, you come before Him and ask Him to help you filter all of the decisions that you have to make, all of the things that you have before you, all of the struggles, all of the worries, all of the things that you bring to His feet. It's about letting Him create that heart change in you rather than us just coming before Him asking for what we want, right? It's coming to know our Father. It's coming to know our Father. And so prayer is intimate, and prayer is so very important, and it is so very vital in the life of a believer. In Psalms 37:4, it says, "Take delight in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." Notice that it says, "Take delight in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." The heart behind our prayers should be more about seeking the Lord, more about seeking His will, and wanting more than anything else to know Him, to know Him. And ladies, an amazing thing happens when we do that. An amazing thing. There have been times where I've come to the Lord and I have cried out. I've literally cried out for the desires of my heart. I have fallen on my knees, emotions, tears, literally praying these heartfelt prayers, begging for what I thought was best for me at that moment in my life. And ladies, I'll never forget it. It was a resounding no. It was a door slamming no. It was not the answer that I was begging for. It was not the answer that my heart was crying out for. And I couldn't understand, and I couldn't make sense, and I didn't understand it. But ladies, please understand me. Please understand me when I tell you this. The Lord did something so much more powerful in my heart and in my life than just giving me what I wanted in the moment. He didn't necessarily give me the answer I wanted at that time, but He began to create a heart change in me. And that is what prayer is about. It's literally about coming before a holy Father, laying down our desires, laying down our wishes, and surrendering everything to His will for us. And so even though I didn't get the answer that my heart cried out for, ladies, years later, right? After that decision had been made, after those prayers had been prayed, I can look back and I can literally praise God and thank Him that He did not answer the prayers the way that I thought I wanted them answered in the moment. And that is so important to you. It's so important for you to understand right now, because you may be crying out for something. You may be in a place of just grieving, and your heart is aching, but you have to. When you cannot trace His hand, you must trust His heart. He is a good, sovereign, holy Father who loves you. He loves you. His desires for you are good. And even in the midst of these prayers where we think we want something and we get the no, or maybe it's a yes, whatever it is, when we get that answer, it's all about Him and His will for our lives, sweet ladies, and less about us just getting what we want. It's about heart change. When we can come to the Lord and be open about our struggles, our fears, our concerns, our desires, and our need for Him, ladies, this is where life-changing prayer takes place. Please listen to this, because it's so important. It's so important. It is not about changing God's mind, but it's more about changing our heart. I look back at those times and my heart changed. My relationship with the Lord changed through that fervent prayer, even though the answer wasn't what I wanted in the moment. Sitting here right now, teaching and speaking to you and seeing what He has done in this ministry, these are things that never would have happened had I gotten what I wanted in the moment. So you have to trust. You have to trust our Father. When we cannot trace His hand, we can trust His heart. When we can lay down our desires, our hopes, our wishes, when we can let go of what we expect our life to turn out like, what we expect, our expectations, when we can lay everything down in utter and complete surrender before our Father, our holy, holy Father. This is where He can begin to penetrate and change our hearts. So, ladies, I'm so glad you're tuning in today. After the break, we're going to come back and we are going to talk about very practical ways you can build a strong, intimate prayer life. Because I promise you, if you take the time to devote yourself to prayer, as we are going to talk about, you're going to be blown away at what the Lord does in and through you. And I'd also like to, before we break, just thank our amazing ministry sponsors at AnyPest. They have made so much possible in the life of this ministry. Ladies, we'll be back after the break.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Ladies Who Love Christ. We'll be back with more right after this.
Hi, ladies. This is Ashley Poptodorova. And before the break, we were talking about pray about it, girl, right? Today, we are talking about prayer in the life of a believer, how vital it is, how important it is. Ladies, I can promise you that deep, rich, intimate prayer is much too important to miss. So before the break, we were reading through Psalms 37:4, and I want to just read this side note to you. It is amazing because we were talking about how prayer is less about what we want and more about changing our heart and more about seeking the Lord. That is what true, deep, rich prayer is about. And when you can come before our Holy Father and surrender everything to Him, and even surrender your desires, yes, your desires, to His will and to what He wants for you, it is amazing what He will do. So I love this side note on Psalms 37:4, and I just want to read it to you. So it says, hopes, aspirations, and desires often push people to excel and be their best. But when longings remain unfilled, people tend to become frustrated, bewildered, and disappointed. Christians grappling with deep and unsatisfying yearnings are comforted often by the promise recorded in Psalm 37:4. Take delight in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart. Unfortunately, when the reader's attention is solely focused on how to receive things from the Lord, the important context of this verse is missed. Okay? Prayers that are focused on the object of desire fail to include the fundamental key to fulfillment of this promise, delighting oneself in the Lord. So prayers that are focused solely on the object of our desire, what it is we think we want, what it is we think is best for us. See, as a human being, we go through things in life, right? We go through situations and we think, I know what's best for me, and I want this, the object of your desire. I want this to take place. So I, in turn, am going to go to the Lord in fervent prayer, crying out for this specific answer and what I feel is best to be answered in my life by the Lord. And see, ladies, that's backwards. That's backwards. It doesn't mean that you cannot go to the Lord for the desires of your heart, but it is about a heart posture. It's about a longing, an insatiable hunger, a longing after Him. So instead, when you can go to Him and say, Lord, you know all, You were everywhere. You created me in my mother's womb. You knew every single one of my days before one came to pass. Lord, I don't know if this is right. I don't know what I should do here. I don't know what decision I should make. I don't know how I should proceed. I don't know if I should take this job or not take this job, or move or not move. All of the many choices we are faced with in a day. But Lord, you know. And I want your will for me. I want your best for me. See, ladies, that's a powerful thing when we can surrender our desires. The Lord knows our desires, He knows them. These are not a surprise to Him. But when we can surrender them at His feet and say, but Lord, I want your best for me, ladies, and I want to know you. Because, see, He's so much more concerned with who we are and who we become than all of these little things. And some are very big things, don't misunderstand me, but all of these things that we cry out for daily. So, ladies, listen, there are a couple things that I want to just kind of guide you with today and recommend to you. These are things that have worked for me in strengthening my prayer life and teaching here at Ladies Who Love Christ Ministries. We have leaders all over the U.S., and we often do many teachings and Bible studies on prayer and the importance of prayer. So I want to give you just 4 things that you can do that will definitely help you to become a prayer warrior and to really deepen your relationship and your prayer life with the Lord. The first thing is to stop and pray. Stop and pray. How many times does somebody come up to you and say, I'm struggling with an issue? And you say, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll be sure to pray for you. And then you get busy. Your schedule takes over. Your tasks take over. You're gone. That's it. You're on the go, and you've forgotten this need. You've forgotten this need, right? That came in front of you. Stop and pray. I have had to learn to immediately write down my prayer requests and those people that I want to lift up in my special time. Sometimes I'll stop and I'll pray on the spot. But if it's in an environment where you're working or you're just in a busy situation, stop and write it down. I keep Post-its all over, in my office, in my car, everywhere I am, in my purse. I always have Post-its. Jot down a quick note. Remember to pray. Stop and pray. And if at all possible, stop there and pray. And I have been known to do that too, right? If we don't do that, ladies, we will forget. When someone asks for prayer and you want to lift them up, stop and pray. That's the first thing, okay? The second thing is to create space in your life. And I always say this, these challenges are full of love. The challenges that I give you are not from living a perfect life. Far from it. These challenges are because I've tripped, and oftentimes I've done all of these things, right? You must create space in your life, and I lovingly want to challenge you. Stop prioritizing all of the things that offer no eternal value in your life and start giving Jesus time. That is a challenge, because as ladies, we get so busy and we pack out our schedules to the max, overflowing, full to the gills, and we have no time left, right? No time left. And then all of a sudden, we're crowding out Jesus. We're crowding out our prayer time. We're crowding out our devotional time. We're crowding out all of the things that produce greater fruit and greater return in our life. We never want to crowd out Jesus. So my challenge and my suggestion is to create space in your life. Make time for prayer. Make diligent, active time in your life for prayer, for studying the word, for the things of Jesus, because there's nothing more important that you'll ever do than create that time in your life. Ladies, powerful prayer needs your focus, your time, and your attention. In a world that begs for our attention everywhere else, we have to be diligent to make our prayer life a priority. Okay? The third thing, it's very simple, is to get creative. Get creative in how you pray or where you pray or how you like to do it. Some people have prayer closets. Other people have prayer baskets where they just grab their basket with their notes of who they have to pray for and their Bible, and get alone and get creative. We're all so different. I don't have to be in a particular spot to pray. For me, I just talk to Jesus all day. I could be talking to him before a client comes. I'm a health coach. Before a client comes, while I'm driving around town, while I'm preparing for Bible studies, I talk to him all the time, right? The key is just to immerse yourself in his presence. But I've also found that I'm a visual person. I'm very visual. When I write things down, when I read them, when I study them, I have better focus, I should say. And I'm sure some of you guys are like that. I'm a visual person. So let me give you an example. I have a prayer board, okay? And this prayer board, down one side is prayer requests, and then on the other side is praises. It's a simple dry erase board, and I have all of my prayers and my praises there. So if you're a visual person, do something like this. And for those of you who are listening in, you want to go to YouTube at this point and look up episode 23, Pray About It, Girl, and you'll actually get to see the board that I'm showing right now. But this is it, right? Prayers and praises. And that to me is wonderful because I have the prayer request on one side, and when the Lord answers it, I can move it over to the praises. Ladies, how often he answers our prayers and we miss it. The seemingly little things in our lives that are actually the really big things, right? We can easily miss if we're not paying attention. The fourth thing is to get a prayer partner. Get somebody to hold you accountable. Get somebody to pray with you. I have girlfriends and sisters in Christ that we pray together. We have a private prayer thread on Facebook where we're constantly lifting each other up, supporting each other, praying for each other. Get a prayer partner. Have that accountability. That is so important in the life of a believer. Someone that you trust, someone that you know, somebody that you love, someone that you can talk about the tough things with, and you can pray about the tough things with. So in conclusion today, I just want to take you to Colossians 4:2. Colossians 4:2 says so much, and I'm going to read this to you in conclusion. It says, devote yourselves to prayer, being watchful and thankful. See, ladies, there's a side note. I'm reading from the Jesus Bible. If you are like me, I have tons of different Bibles, but I really enjoy the Jesus Bible. And there's a side note that says, devoting oneself to prayer is a challenge for many people. Nevertheless, this is exactly what Paul instructed the church at Colossae to do as he concluded his letter. Paul gave an immediate explanation of what he meant by devote yourselves to prayer when he followed up with being watchful and thankful. Remaining watchful for the flaming arrows of the evil one, that's Ephesians 6:16, keeps believers in a posture of prayerful dependence upon God. Jesus is the very one who makes prayer possible. Jesus paved the way for prayer to be possible by removing the sin barrier between God and humanity through his death, burial, and resurrection. The author of Hebrews said it this way: since we have a great priest over the house of God, let us draw near to God with a sincere heart and with a full assurance that faith brings, having our hearts sprinkled to cleanse us from a guilty conscience and having our bodies washed with pure water. That's Hebrews 10:21 and 22. Jesus makes prayer possible, allowing Christians to draw near to God with the confidence that God will hear and act according to his will. Ladies, that he will hear and act according to his will. Ladies, maybe you're crying out, you're in that place and you're desiring this answer. Our Father knows you. He knows every little thing about you. Come before him, seek to know him, hunger after him, and ask him to reveal his will. Not so much what you want. Be willing to surrender your desires and ask for his will. We're so glad that you are on the show today. Thank you so much to our amazing ministry sponsors. And you can tune in on any major podcast platform after. And this is just a reminder, we love Faith Talk. If you are listening to the show today on Faith Talk, go to YouTube and look up Ladies Who Love Christ, episode 23. You'll see the prayer board that I demonstrated in today's episode. Thank you guys so much, and I look forward to seeing you next week.